나와 홍신나 북번께 투신나 샤바와키 신나무 기그라니 짜이 샤바기라니 짜이 무기그라니 루아이디
You look sexy, man.
Yep, that is Clint's girlfriend, and she's looking better than ever. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name is Luke Radowski here of thebestpoliticalshow.com, and we will be going live for the next 2 hours discussing all the latest and craziest news developing right now. As, of course, there's a lot to talk about, as it looks like Tulsi Gabbard has officially endorsed Donald Trump along with RFK as the two represent a major political shift coming our way, as Kamala Harris is trying to set up some very weird special conditions for the next upcoming presidential debate, as some people are saying she's acting more drunk than ever, as she's also trying to disarm Americans. There's also a lot more developments surrounding the CEO of Telegram, and we're going to be discussing that, plus a lot more, all here on this independent media broadcast that we would ask you to please share with your friends and family members, since it is more imperative than ever, especially with the uphill battle we have with the YouTube algorithm. It really does help when you guys just copy the link, share it out there. We're going to be live for 2 hours, as of course you could also participate in the conversation. And one quick and easy way to do that is to sign up to LukeUnfiltered.com. When you do that, you get access to a special Telegram channel, and we will be going to you probably right now. If you want to call in, first-time callers get priority, and you will be able to call in about an hour and a half from now, and you'll be able to talk to us live, totally unfiltered. Sign up right now, LukeUnfiltered.com. The link is in the description, as of course we're going to be reading any and all super chats that we can, but of course we will be prioritizing people who donate on mysuperchat.com. The link is also linked in the description below. Joining us for today's conversation is Angela McArdle. Angela, for the people who don't know you, who are you and how would you introduce yourself?
Hello there. I am the chair of the National Libertarian Party and co-organizer of Rage Against the War Machine rally series.
Awesome. It looks like a very interesting event. I was sad I missed the last one. It was an incredible event. I think Clint was there. Was that true?
Yeah. It was the first time I spoke at a live rally, I think. That was the first time I ever got to do it. Right in front of the White House, and I turned around and pointed at Joe Biden, and I told him to F himself. It was fun.
Yeah, there you go. As of course, I had no idea this was coming up, so this
Beautiful.
is cool. We got the link posted up here as well.
We are officially inviting you and Clint to come speak with us on the main stage in front of the Washington Memorial. That is Saturday, September 28th. So hopefully you'll be able to make it. I'll check in with you on that later. We're also going to have Eric Bowling there, emceeing, formerly of Newsmax. We'll have Scott Horton. We've invited Tulsi Gabbard and Thomas Massey. We'll see if they're able to make it. It's going to be amazing. We're going to have a lot of really awesome libertarian speakers. We're bringing in some people from the dissident left as well. And we are ready to send a strong anti-war message and a rebuke against the war machine to Washington, D.C. right before the elections.
Yep, I think we definitely need that message out there to the general public, since the anti-war left kind of poofed, disappeared, and went into oblivion. So it's good to see rallies and conferences and people actually going out there and making a difference. You do a lot of great stuff, so it's a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Marta Bueno is aquí, rápido.
Here, representing all the Latinas, apparently. You can find me at Bueno for Miami on IG and X.
Clint.
Yo soy Clinton Rosul y yo tengo un coche azul y...
Amarillo.
¿Qué?
Yeah, amarillo.
Y amarillo.
Anyways, thank you for having me. At Liberty Lock Pod on X. If you want to support my work, subscribe there. I'll follow you back. Liberty Lockdown's the show. I also do Tower Gang. Never ever watched that. Steph's on the buttons. Let's go.
¿Hablas español? Stefana.
Me llama Estefanía de la Castilla. I don't know if anyone gets that joke, but people say that to me all the time in Spanish. Anyway, this is Steph. We are Change, ready to push the buttons.
All right, let's just get into it, as it looks like a sort of Avengers anti-establishment team is coalescing during this political election cycle, and it's definitely very fascinating, as just a couple hours ago, Tulsi Gabbard was joined on stage with Donald Trump officially endorsing him. Here's a small clip from what Tulsi had to say, as a lot of people were kind of paying attention to the larger messages that she was bringing out there.
Dangers we would face if Kamala Harris is elected as president. We as Americans must stand together to reject this anti-freedom culture of political retaliation and abuse of power. We can't allow our country to be destroyed by politicians who will put their own power ahead of the interests of the American people, our freedom, and our future.
An important message, but also a message that I think Tulsi understands is a very important one during this time, because she's deemed the Kamala breaker, and that's putting it in a nice way. And if Kamala becomes president of the United States, you know she's going to be vengeful. She's going to be implementing everything at her disposal to try to get back at someone that she believes thwarted her original presidential run, which, of course, was met by cheers and applause during a presidential debate, where she, of course, was handed down a butt-whooping by Tulsi Gabbard that exposed her horrible track record. So for me, I kind of want to ask you guys, is she doing this to kind of make sure that Kamala, her biggest political rival, isn't president of the United States? Or is she doing this because she sees Donald Trump as sort of a unifier, and this kind of larger coalition, especially with now RFK now, showing us that this is the time that we got to come together more than ever? What do you think is more behind this larger kind of political move?
Well, he's totally being a unifier right now. I mean, he reached out to me and he wants to put a Libertarian in a cabinet position. He didn't get an endorsement from a Libertarian presidential candidate, but he certainly worked for it. He's been working with RFK Jr. He got his endorsement, and now he's reaching out to Tulsi. This is the Avengers. It is a group of
The political Avengers. I like it.
Ragtag anti-establishment people, to some extent, joining forces to team up and battle Team Communism.
Mm-hmm. Communism, as of course Kamala Harris's policies are really kind of fascinating. We saw RFK Jr. kind of hint at this a couple days ago. He was on Fox News specifically talking about how other Democrats will be joining the Trump campaign. Now, is this going to stop at Tulsi, or will there be other kind of Democrats joining the ticket here?
Rod Blagojevich, I think, is a former Democrat who was pardoned by President Trump. And I know that he's a supporter. So I don't know that there's going to be a position for him, but I know that he's part of the coalition of people outside of the GOP who are supporting Donald Trump.
I think the point that hasn't been said yet, and I agree with everything that everyone has said so far, but important caveat is that I think Tulsi's doing this in large part because she was put on the no-fly list, or the extra special precautions, and that she realizes that the intelligence community has been turned against political dissidents in this country, and she found herself on the outside looking in. Well, I think approaching this in a good faith fashion, trying to actually just contend on an ideological basis with her opponents, and then finding out that, you can't actually do that in the Democrat Party, and if you do, they will try and ruin your life. And I feel kind of a kinship to not just her, but also to RFK Jr., and I think many in the Libertarian world feel a kinship, because it's like, we're all dissidents, we're all on the outside looking in, and we all realize that, like, if the intelligence agency's chosen asset in Kamala Harris becomes the president of the United States, it's probably game, set, match.
She's still on the terror watch list. She just posted a photo when she was flying from Mexico City back into the United States with the triple S's. And if you traveled and if you expressed some kind of political opinion online, there's a chance that you probably have dealt with this too. I had friends that dealt with it. Every time they flew, every time they got through TSA, they had a secondary questioning, a secondary screening. I had it happen to me a couple times. It's uncomfortable because they literally go through every little item that you have, that you're carrying, that you're traveling with. And then, of course, you risk, of course, missing your flight. Luckily, it hasn't been happening to me lately, but I haven't been doing a lot of international travel. But for her to still be on that list after that list was exposed really does highlight the larger insecurity of the national security state that is vengeful, that is angry. And I think Tulsi understands she is in deep trouble if Kamala Harris becomes the next president of the United States. So
I would be scared if I were her. I mean, this is what's happening under Biden's administration. Imagine if Kamala is the president. I mean, it's just, she's definitely going to be a target. I would be scared. I'd definitely join the opposite team too.
Yeah, and it's not just having additional security protocols like getting extra screening and stuff. According to the report, she actually had
Agents.
3 to 5 agents on her every time she flew. From walking all the way to the gate, and then they would actually, a few of them would actually get on the plane with her.
Mind you, she's still like a soldier. She has clearance.
No, I know.
So it's wild.
Yeah, and they're treating her like she's not just like a potential threat, but like
threat.
That's like an active
threat.
terrorism threat. You would think that's how they would actually treat those people.
Right.
She was almost like a candidate for the president of the United States.
Right. Like they are following her as if she was like a terrorist herself, like as if she was Hamas or she was. So imagine, like, we can't follow people that were on FBI watch lists that then go and do these heinous crimes. We don't have enough resources for that, but we have resources to attach 5.
Yeah, there's
T-shirt.
literal gangbangers and MS-13 members and Venezuelan cartels that are literally running around major cities, doing whatever they want, taking over city blocks, setting up their own criminal organizations. But you could rest assured that the best national security resources are literally following around Tulsi Gabbard as she flies around on a plane giving political speeches.
T-shirt idea, Tulsi bin Laden.
Put a beard on her.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be pretty funny if people.
Security
Most
threat.
wanted by the TSA and have a picture of.
Ooh, I do like it. T-shirt
I like
idea
that.
approved.
But in related kind of petty news by the national security apparatus, we also got the news that Secret Service no longer will be providing security for
Okay.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Okay, but what is the loss here?
Yes.
What is the loss? I believe that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. uses Gavin DeBecker's team. They're probably much better than Secret Service.
Undoubtedly, but the issue was that he was trying to fight against the two biggest political parties, and he was having to spend millions of dollars per month on private security. So, and that was coming out of his campaign funds. So that is the downside. If you want to stay alive, though, you're absolutely right. You don't want the Secret Service protecting you.
Yeah.
If you want to save money, you use the Secret Service.
But how petty. Oh, you've now, because he hasn't dropped out officially from
No,
the
I
race.
know.
Not officially.
So
He's still running,
right, he's
except
still
in
running.
swing states.
But now, now it's like, oh, well, you've done this, so we're getting rid of it. I mean, like, how petty.
It's 100% intentional.
It's totally.
And keep in mind, they did not give him security until after a bullet came within a millimeter of killing the former president, and then they're like, all right, fine, I guess you can have it. And then he's like, all right, well then I'm gonna endorse Trump in the swing states, and they're like, all right, fine, you can now
You can die again.
Yeah,
Sorry,
like-
we don't really care.
There was a hilarious article that was inappropriate to laugh at by the Babylon Bee that said Donald Trump brings in RFK Jr. in order to draw out the sniper fire away from him, which is absolutely brilliant and hilarious, but shows you what kind of time period we are in right now. As one of the other points that I made here specifically is, during the 60s when they took out JFK, they didn't stop at JFK. They went after RFK, they went after Malcolm X, they went after MLK, and people still in this modern day have this kind of notion, oh, they went after Trump, they'll stop. They weren't successful. Oh, they'll just give up. They'll just walk away. I don't think they will. I think these people are at danger more than ever.
I think that there are going to be additional attempts on President Trump's life. I think that he's going to have to operate his presidency from a panic room part of the time. It's really scary. It's really scary.
That's what some commentator said. He was like, put Trump in the bunker, keep him there, make sure he doesn't leave because his life is in danger. They could at any moment, at any time, take him out in many different dastardly ways, as of course the CIA literally has heart attack guns, and this is old technology that they had all the way back in the 1970s. So imagine what they have now. Imagine the capabilities that they're able to, of course, implement now. And today we also got new members of Congress, a part of the investigation team that came out and literally said, the federal agents here, the Secret Service, the FBI, they're stonewalling us. They're not giving us the documents. They're not telling us what's going on. They're not helping us here at all. They're prolonging this and not giving us any legitimate answers to what actually happened to the former president of the United States.
I mean, they haven't given us what happened to JFK, a sitting president who was murdered. What has it been now, 60 years now?
Yep.
Like, so if they don't feel the need in 60 years to give us this information, why would they give it on Donald Trump, who's still alive and well, and not the current president?
And I think there's a distinct possibility they're trying to delay the day of reckoning until they hope Kamala Harris is the president. That's my guess. I mean, it's not that far off. So it seems very logical that they would like to do that.
Yeah, so it's pretty clear. They're covering something up. They're hiding something from the general public that if is publicly disclosed, if we're going to find out about, is going to have major ramifications within our total political structure as we have it right now. And if you're them, you're like, holy cow, they're going to release all the documents. They're going to tell us, they're going to tell the world exactly what we did.
Well,
what kind of measures would you go to make sure that that doesn't happen?
I think that they're going to also, I hope that everything gets released. Kash Patel had a really good documentary out recently called Government Gangsters, and he talks about how, you know, the sucky swamp creature people did everything they could to undermine Donald Trump in his first administration, including, you know, flipping people that Donald Trump thought were on his team. So I will not be surprised at all if this continues into a Trump administration, because it's like sleeper cells. You don't know really who's on your team until you get tested.
Well, I think a good way to actually kind of suss out who might be on your team is look at who they've already gone after.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he's building this Avengers team of dissidents, is like, oh, well, they've totally abused RFK Jr. into oblivion. He's not on their team. Oh, they have Quad S notifications,
Yes.
and they have 5 people following Tulsi Gabbard every flight she takes. She's not on their team. Okay, you're on my team now.
Yeah.
Like, I think
That's
it's actually
why-
a really intelligent way of going about it.
That's why I've encouraged libertarians to give the guy a chance, do what you can to work with him, because he's reaching out to us because he knows we're the ones who are not going to try to murder him.
Right.
You know, we don't want to hurt you. We want to see things go well.
We want the opposite of that. We want freedom. We want
Yeah.
the non-aggression principle. We want people to freely transact in an open, fair market that isn't
Absolutely.
dominated by all these multinational corporations that have bought out the Kamala Harris campaign and are donating hundreds of millions of dollars to her. I think the estimate is now $527 million that she was able to raise in just one single month. That money doesn't come free. It comes with a lot of strings. It comes with a lot of different policies that benefit the ruling elite that, of course, will be cashing in those checks when or if she becomes the next president
The
of the
cabal.
United States.
Kamala Harris.
I like that. I like that even more than my Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
It's really disturbing that it's like in the polls it's a dead heat between like what a candidate that's pretty much overtly running on kind of a tepid communism
Yep.
versus a guy who's like, he's not great, but he's certainly not. He's kind of like a Bill Clinton, you know, like he's fairly middle of the road.
Without the kill list.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I meant Bill Clinton in terms of policies in the
Yes,
90s, in
yes.
terms of like what he wants for the country. And it's just amazing to me that like half the country is like, no, I want communism. Give me Mao.
Yeah, give me free stuff. Give me, give me everything that my parents never provided to me. That the state somehow is magically going to do that. But I think if we are going to have a Trump presidency, we are going to see, I think, a lot of major shifts. As of course, Donald Trump is vowing and promising to release all of the JFK files. He's even talking about working with RFK, specifically declassifying details about all political assassinations, including the recent one that almost happened against Donald Trump. So having RFK Jr. in this specific position is something that is noteworthy. It's something that is significant. Personally, I would love to see him as like an attorney general or head of the FDA. Tulsi Gabbard, I would love to see as Secretary of State. That's just my 2 cents. I don't know. That's just my dream kind of wish here. What do you see here as the more kind of realistic potential here?
I think that Attorney General is definitely on the table. Secretary of State is going to someone else. But I think that there's definitely room for Tulsi to have a cabinet position.
Fine, Department of Defense. Put her in the DOD.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Head of the FBI. I
Will
like
she
that.
pass Senate confirmation hearings, though?
I think she'll pass Senate confirmation hearings.
She has a lot of friends in Congress,
Yeah,
right?
she
She
was
didn't
in
piss people
Congress,
off.
so-
Yeah, she has people on the left and the right that she's pretty
Yep.
close with. So if
don't
there's
think-
anyone who's going to pass confirmation hearings, it's probably going to be her.
Yeah, she might. I don't think RFK Jr. will, though, given his sordid background. So
Imagine the hearings
oh man, it'd be
Well,
great.
about the worms
I mean,
and the dogs.
That's
And the cocaine
why-
apparently now.
That's why the swing state stuff is so important. It's not just the presidency, but it's the Senate. That's why there's such a tough battle right now for Republicans to have a Senate majority.
Yeah.
It affects how you get all these other guys in. It really
everyone's
does.
focused on the president, but people need to understand if there's no Congress backing the president,
Correct.
he's a lame duck president, and he
Correct.
won't be able to do or accomplish anything he wants. He won't be able to get those appointments. He won't be able to, of course, get the Supreme Court justices that he wants as well.
Correct.
Because it matters more than anything to vote also on a local level and know who you're also voting for.
We want to
specifically.
get our libertarian in the cabinet, so it behooves us to work where we can with the GOP on some of these really tight races.
Yeah, makes sense to
And
me.
that will make a lot of people scream and get really mad that I say that, but I think
Well-
it's incredibly important.
Just to reiterate what Roger Stone told us last week, it does not require Senate confirmation to be the head of the CIA. So
Correct.
RFK Jr., head of the CIA, Tulsi Gabbard, I don't know, somewhere in Department of Defense would be interesting. But I think she's actually capable of some other, like, she's got a diverse skill set. So I'm not settled on where she fits best.
Any other dream team lists or wants or any
Vivek
other
AG,
individuals you guys
Vivek
are
AG.
looking for?
We're getting a libertarian in, probably in charge of the Department of Education. I think that's like the junior position. It's very easy. They're just like, shut it down. We don't really care how you do it. Just shut it down. Just fire everyone.
Can we get a Thomas Massey in the Department of Agriculture, though?
Maybe. So let me say this.
Give us the tea.
I think that's possible. That has not been floated by me. But to all of the other Liberty Caucus Republicans, I think everybody's learning a really painful lesson. And I don't know how closely everybody follows GOP politics. A lot of people lost their positions. They got primaried. They got ousted. Some of the best advocates for liberty. It's because you all like gave Donald Trump a really hard time. And it's all internal politics, but Donald Trump is like, well, okay, you're great on liberty, but you trashed me for a good 6 years. Why would I help you get reelected? So now we're sort of scrambling to figure that out. We're a little behind the ball.
Yeah, that's also happening with Amash that we were talking to
Yes.
on the show as well.
Yes.
And there still is rivalry. There still is kind of differences. But for me, this is like the time to put all of our differences aside.
I agree.
Put your ego aside. Put all the differences aside. The stakes couldn't be any higher, guys.
high, yeah.
And put away those differences. They don't matter.
It's
okay.
biting your nose, and you like there's no reason to have gone against Amash. I understand that, he kind of upset Trump, but losing those quality people, it's a problem.
Well, Amash voted to impeach
He
Trump.
voted to impeach him.
So I can't blame.
Time to put it aside, guys. Like, this is crunch time,
Well, Amash doesn't want to put it to a side. We had
There you
Amash
go.
on the show,
Yeah. I know.
and we were talking to him like, "Are you going to put it to the side?" I mean, this is the time, kind of, to put it to the
Yeah.
side. And
He
Amash
wasn't
respectfully disagreed and gave us his point of view on why he didn't. You could check out that podcast episode on our platforms as well.
Because his argument was that I believe that more presidents should be impeached. It's like, okay, but you impeached him
But they're not.
predicated off.
Yeah.
They're not. But also, you impeached Trump predicated off of lies planted by Hillary Clinton and the FBI.
Deep state operatives.
Yes.
Like,
so
please
you
don't.
you did the bidding of the regime while
Yes.
you pretended to be the outsider. I don't think that's good for us either. And
It's not.
And I respect that guy tremendously. So that's more than anything. I'm saying this because I was disappointed. But then what happens because of that? He gets obliterated. Running to compete in the Senate against Mike Rogers, was it?
Yes.
Who's like a deep swamp monster
good guy.
extraordinaire, terrible.
So at the end of the day, we all lose. It's a lose-lose proposition, and that's the sad reality of where we are in the politics. It's like, choose your team, and if you happen to say something that they don't like, well, now you're screwed.
Yeah. Angela, if you had it your way and you were at Burger King, but instead of ordering Burger King, you were ordering around positions in the White House, what do you think would be the most important kind of position, and who would you personally love to see inside a Donald Trump cabinet?
It's staffing. You need to have solid, strong ideological libertarians with some professional experience in staffing in all of these departments. That is what helps to make or break it all happen. I'd love to see Thomas Massey running up Department of Agriculture for sure.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. We are talking about putting a handful of people in the Department of Education to help shut it down to the extent that there are legislative hurdles and we cannot overcome them and get it completely shut down. I'd like to put Corey DeAngelis in so he can basically recommend how to get it as close as possible, but not literally in charge, because I don't see him as an administrator. I see him as someone who passes out the good word on what to do.
Yeah, Trump is literally talking about bringing on Elon Musk, since he's a great firer.
Yes.
And saying we're going to clean house, and Elon
Yes.
Musk is going to advise us specifically on how to fire a lot of bureaucrats.
Kash
And
Patel
that sounds
also.
great.
I'd like Kash Patel to be back in. He fired 15% of the intelligence staff.
Yeah,
Those are rookie numbers,
yeah.
guys. We need more.
No, Kash Patel was the head of Intel previously for Trump's administration.
Staffing, yes.
And I think he's one of the smartest, most on-point individuals, a part of Trump's team right now that has really been on it. He has had the ball in his court in a really good, impressive way. So shouts out to Kash Patel and all the work that he's doing personally.
I think the way that they've been, Vivek is still assisting Trump, but it does seem as if he's taken a step back. And I'm not hearing Trump talk a lot about utilizing Vivek in his cabinet. So my suspicion, and it's kind of a good thing, kind of a bad thing, is that he's going to run for the Senate. Most likely.
I really hope he doesn't. I have advocated for him to be in charge of Department of Homeland Security. I would really he would be so much more effective and powerful in a cabinet position than one of 100 senators.
And he's one of the few guys that could definitely get through Senate confirmation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now imagine the kind of disclosures. Imagine what we're going to be finding out here, as of course a person on Twitter decided to highlight how Tulsi and RFK are also individuals that have previously talked about the U.S.-funded biolabs inside of Ukraine. They have also talked about a lot of other controversial ideas, which we might be actually getting some answers to, as RFK Jr. is also hinting at the possibility of doing something around contrails, or chemtrails, as some people have called them, as of course he is replying to certain individuals saying, quote, "We are going to stop this crime," after a concerned citizen posted this photo and this clip of alleged chemicals that are being released into the sky. Now, are they? Again, that's up to your own kind of discernment, but it's fair to say that whatever happens, if they are able to become prominent people within the new government, that there's going to be a lot of shakeups. There's going to be a lot of disclosures, and I think we might, if everything goes off the way it should, if the polls are correct, we will be getting a lot of eye-opening kind of disclosures about how government works and how well it could work under actual leadership that is not just competent, but also aware of the larger kind of problems of big government. So this is going to be, I think, an unraveling that could potentially unfold here that is absolutely significant. And I think this is why the establishment is pulling out all the stops. And I think this is why they tried to take the life of the former president of the United States.
100%. They're going to have to fire just everyone. When I took over the National Libertarian Party, I had a staff of like 14 people. And we had a lot of turnover. And a huge mistake I made was not firing almost everyone, because we had our own deep state. And this is just a staff of like 14 people, and it was an impossible bureaucratic maze. I cannot imagine at what scale the federal government is, how difficult, thousands and thousands of employees, and how easy it is to hide the ball, delete files. Oops, I lost it. Like it's a
or
lot
infiltrate with different individuals that sabotage your different kind of causes as well. Because there's open bureaucrats literally talking about doing that now that are not even in the new administration. They're saying we're working for plans that will undermine whatever Donald Trump wants to do. They're trying to pass laws that will literally codify war spending, even if Donald Trump is the next president of the United States. So he won't be able to stop it in any way, shape, or form. RFK Jr.'s campaign is literally describing individuals that have infiltrated it and have sabotaged its campaign in order to get it in legal troubles, so they weren't able to, of course, move forward in a kind of productive way. And that's one of the things that we actually know about. So how deep does the rabbit hole go when it comes to this kind of larger, kind of sinister, deep state, bureaucratic state that will be, I think, utilizing a lot of really dirty tricks up ahead? And how do you prevent those dirty tricks from being played?
You just have to fire as many people as possible. Like that, my experience is you just have to fire everyone, and the people who seem really nice, you still need to fire them. Only the people who are just straight up like, you're my new boss and I'm loyal to you, and here's the dirt, those are the only ones that you can keep.
So you have to seek out the kind of the dirty backroom dealers and just be like, you're on my team now?
Well, only if they come to you.
If
they come to you and make themselves vulnerable and say, this is what's been going on.
This is where the bodies are buried.
Yes.
Literally. And figuratively.
Those are the only ones that you can keep on your team. Everybody else has got to go.
It seems like he ought to just be like every whistleblower of every department that's been fired, just be like, you're all hired and you now work for me.
Yes.
Like one-on-one. Yeah, I think that's an interesting tactic. from my vantage point, I'm actually surprised that they're like this is such a tooth pulling exercise to have him bring in one libertarian. It's like, dude, you ought to bring in
all of
40 of us. Like
Well,
we're savages.
There's that problem though of us not playing nicely with others, and so it's like, well, why would I bring you in when you tried to impeach me? So I'm like, hey, guess what? I didn't try to impeach you.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about Justin Amash. I'm saying like there's a lot of other libertarians that weren't in office that were trying to undermine him. Like I just think that because we actually care about defending the Bill of Rights and ending wars, like things that he gives lip service to, but he was undermined in that process. It's like, well, then just bring us in, dude.
I believe that there's an opportunity for a lot more of us to come in, not necessarily heads of cabinets, but in his administration, absolutely.
Can we get Scott Horton in the Department of Defense, like, for example? That would
Make
be
him an
great.
advisor, for God's sakes.
I'd like him to be an advisor. I think that's someone that we could call up and get advice, but
he ain't ever getting through Senate confirmation.
yeah.
Well, I don't mean
but there's a big difference between critics and people inside of the government, inside of Washington D.C., inside of the swamp that understand how it works. So bringing someone completely brand new that doesn't know the bureaucracies and how to untangle it might be not as good as well. I would say it's good if they just fire everyone, which should be the policy, which should be the way to save the American taxpayer a lot of money. But I remember criticizing Donald Trump after he was elected because I saw the people he was putting in.
Yep.
I saw the Boltons, I saw the Kushners, I saw the head of the CIA that was known for torturing people.
Yep.
I saw Pompeo, I saw all these individuals, and I started raising the alarms. I got heavily criticized. They're like, "You're not on our team. How dare you?" I was like, I liked him when he was campaigning back in 2016. He was talking about ending the Federal Reserve. He was talking about holding the Bushes and Saudi Arabia responsible for what happened in 2001.
Lock her up.
He was literally exposing a lot of major crimes by the state. But then he became president. He just recently kind of issued the larger kind of sentiments too, saying, when I first got into office, I didn't know who to put in Washington, D.C. He said this with an interview with Sean, I think Sean Ryan is his name. I saw the clip going viral right now on Twitter. He says, I didn't know anyone in Washington, D.C., and I selected a lot of bad people.
Yes.
So all the people who criticized me, I told you I was right. But without just patting myself on the back here, this is going to be this is going to be the hallmarker, because if he is allowed to be elected, the first thing I'm looking at, and I'm going to be hyper paranoid looking at, who are you putting in there? And that will tell you the future of his administration and how he will run.
Just think about even if you don't put RFK Jr. as the head of HHS, just having him as an advisor on who is corrupt within the CDC, FDA, like all down the line. He's been suing these people for decades. He knows all of the bad actors. I think it would be a tremendous asset.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's a battle for influence right now, essentially between libertarians and people who share our views, independents, Tulsi Gabbards, and the Giuliani crowd. Who are the people that didn't backstab him? That's who's battling for influence right now. So libertarians who are, skeptical, distrustful, that's okay. Swallow it. I invite you to sit with your discomfort and move forward and help me make this administration better.
Yeah.
Do we know if RFK Jr. has gotten to Trump yet on the health things that happened in 2020?
I think so, because of the statements that Donald Trump has made and the announcement he made specifically about military veterans that he will be giving back pay to and reinstituting into the military that were unfairly discriminated because of these unfair medical policies that were instituted in 2020 and 2021.
And his VP Shanahan came out like 24 to 48 hours before RFK ultimately endorsed him, saying that they were withholding that endorsement because they were trying to get him to acknowledge the mistakes of 2020 in that vein that you're discussing.
And then there was a leaked conversation between RFK and Donald Trump from the RNC, with them specifically having Donald Trump on record talking about the mistakes he made with this thingy, the procedure.
So he told me, and then he repeated it at the national convention, that he was not going to give federal funding to schools that had mandates for that particular one. So I think that's really good.
Yeah,
that's a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, because that reverses a lot of the other things he recently also had to say. So we have to kind of walk a fine line. How do we walk this fine line? Because I think with Donald Trump, just with anybody, anyone in position of power, you got to be critical. but you can't be dastardly. You can't be vengeful. You can't be kind of evil. How do we walk this fine line of kind of critiquing, but also at the same time not falling for the larger traps and psyopses that the establishment puts out there, because they attack them on some of the most ridiculous, some of the most stupid, some of the most fake news propaganda out there. There still should be a way where we could kind of regress our grievances, but respectfully so, in a way that's productive.
That's what you said. You distinguished. There's a big difference between critique and attack. And, if I get pulled into this thing at any level, I'm not going to be endorsing military action in the Middle East that I disagree with, because I don't think that we're going to get 100% libertarian administration. But I think that we should go in and we should be in it as much as we possibly can, because if you have the chance to even have just like a 5% influence in foreign policy, if you can help guide someone to make a decision where they send less drone strikes and less women and children die, you blow up less weddings in the Middle East, the 100 or so people that you save the lives of, it means the world to them.
Yeah, I think
It matters.
that's always been my tactic, is like I just try and maintain the perspective that, okay, he's done A, B, C, D that I don't like, but the alternative is worse. Let's just I always keep that in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
That Kamala Harris is significantly worse. It's basically the FBI, CIA cabal of them plus corporatocracy plus demons. And then it's like a guy who's egotistical, sometimes he does what he says he's going to do, and sometimes he gets steamrolled. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna acknowledge his pitfalls, but then I also do a really good job at calling out when he's being treated unfairly.
Yes.
And I think that's how you demonstrate, real character, is that like, oh, I'm not just here to demonize the guy. Like, if he is being dragged mercilessly for something that's wrong, I will actually Dave and I have both spent years defending him on Russiagate and all sorts of other things, because it's not fair.
Yeah, I got called Russian propaganda for calling out the Russian collusion hoax day one. I was like, where's the documents? These are lying intelligence agents that want you to believe them on their word when they literally lie to get us into war. Let's see the documents. Let's see the evidence. I don't buy that there was Russian collusion. And I was saying this all the way back in 2016, 2017. And the Washington Post literally put us on a kind of a hit list saying these are Russian propagandists. Even though I'm Polish, which is
offensive.
Yeah, not that good.
Offensive.
Not that good to my people. I'm looking for that Sean Ryan clip of Donald Trump saying that he made mistakes. If my producer could find it, that'd be great. We got some super chats here. Steph, you want to take it away?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Read it from the bottom to the top.
Okay, good. We got the redhead libertarian official saying putting Tulsi on a watch list is a threat. Taking RFK's Social Security, Secret Service is a threat. Arresting Pavel is a threat. They are flaunting their power to the influential dissidents and their viewers to breed fear.
I agree.
Agreed wholeheartedly with the redheaded libertarian. Josie? Yep.
They are trying to intimidate everybody. And I'll be honest, I am hearing them loud and clear. The issue is that I realize that if I stop now, the outcome is far worse. So I can't stop.
You know what's crazy is that every totalitarian, like this happened in Venezuela, this happened in Cuba, like this happened in Nicaragua. So anybody that pays attention to politics outside of the United States has seen this over and over. It's a playbook.
Yep.
And so when people are like, well, Kamala isn't that bad, she's not going to do these things. It's like, excuse me, have you ever read or watched news from anywhere else in the world that has had this happen? Like, if you don't want to believe your eyes, then believe the people that have had this happen.
Well,
please.
and then add to that, like, this is global in nature. This is not like one-offs. It's not just Cuba or some other country in Eastern Europe. This is a head of a tech platform that is used by, I don't know, 1 billion people all over the world in Telegram, who's getting arrested in France because he's honoring his terms of service to his clients and saying, you guys have encrypted communications.
We have that story pulled up. We have the 12 charges that were just listed. All of those charges, not for his individual actions, but for what other people did on Telegram. When's Mark Zuckerberg going to be hauled off and arrested then? Because there's so many crimes committed there. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Steph, let's get through the super chats really quick.
Okay, we have Anonymous saying Army infantry recon veteran, 2 combat deployments to Afghan, current LEO in Miami. Hi, Luke. Under Trump, I was trying to go back into the military to serve again. Under Biden-Harris, I'm voting early and leaving the country for Latin America.
So if you're in Miami, give me a PBA card. That'd be great. Yeah.
What's that?
What's
No
a
one knows
PBA
that.
You don't know what a PBA card is?
Tell
No,
us.
You don't know what
please.
a PBA card? It's like the little cards police give. So if you're about to get a speeding ticket, you give it to the other cop, and they don't give you a ticket.
Wait,
Yeah.
Yeah.
those things exist.
A
Yeah.
get out of jail free
Free
card?
card.
Yeah,
I'm
of course.
sorry. Do
What's
I not have
PBA
a
stand
single?
for?
Officer that can give you one
I
of
believe
these?
I'm doing like a New York City kind of expression of it because that's what they had it. They probably still have it here in Miami. But also, feel free to
think
come
here
on
we call
the
it
feel free to come on the show if you want to reach out to us.
Anonymous.
Anonymous. Feel free to come on the show. I think your
Jeez.
perspective would be
Luke
welcome
really
here.
wants that get out of speeding card
Yeah, he
badly.
does.
He's like, come on the show.
Yeah. Wait, we got snacks here. We got drinks. We'll take care of you.
Luke, you don't even
Anonymous.
speed. What is this for?
I don't, but
Like,
in the
really?
gulags, we'll be trading those cards
Right,
together.
right,
Like,
right.
oh, look what I got. You know, like I get a little bit more of stale bread with this one. So there's
no, we're
that.
joking about it, but
that's the way
that's
we're
the way
going.
it works.
Yes, that's literally where we're going, and we'll explain why in a little bit. Steph, keep going.
All right, we got Chrissy Dactyl saying Clint lies about following back. Ha ha.
No, I don't.
Liar.
No, I don't. I don't.
Go follow
I've
Chrissy
never once
Dactyl.
said I will follow back everybody that follows me. That'd be insane. I
don't
follow back
remember you
people
saying
who subscribe to my X account. That means that you are supporting me for $5, a huge $5 a month. Then I will follow you back. That's what I said. And you did not do that because otherwise I would have
Clint
followed
will
you.
do anything for $5.
That's right.
Keep going.
HJs, ZJs.
Keep going, Steph.
If you don't know what a ZJ is, you can't afford it.
All righty.
I want to know what a CJ is now.
No, don't stop it. Family-friendly broadcast. Keep going.
We'll do it next hour.
Joel X-Line says, "What's up, gang? Did you see Bobby said, we are going to stop this crime, referring to chemtrails? Is this finally what winning feels like?"
Yep, that's the story that we brought up just before this one. Keep going.
And yes, it is what winning feels like. So was when Milei got elected in Argentina. Winning, it looks like lots of things.
Afuera.
Afuera.
We're
Let's go.
we're getting teased here. It's a pretty good tease. Will there be a pop? We don't know. But Donald Trump kind of commending Javier Milei and saying he did a great job in Argentina firing people is a good sign. Keep going.
And we have Switzerland Play It IT saying, "Should I finally give up on Sophia?"
I don't know what that means or
I don't
what
know,
is a
but you
reference
keep
to.
Never
talking
give up,
about Sophia.
whatever
Don't
that
Which
give
means.
up.
Sophia? Sophia Vergara?
of
Like who?
wisdom? I don't.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I don't know.
Sophia Vergara, definitely give up. It
Look,
ain't gonna
don't
happen.
give up on her, whoever she is. You got this.
Just try to become a better man.
Unless you're stalking her, in which
Oh.
case, definitely give up, dude.
Yeah, for sure. If she doesn't know who you are, maybe not.
All right, here's the clip from Donald Trump that just came out recently that I think is important to watch that we were just kind of talking about.
I didn't really know anybody in Washington. I was a New York person. I wasn't like a Washington, D.C. person. And all of a sudden, I'm president, and I'm driving down Pennsylvania Avenue with more police and motorcycles and military than I've ever seen before in my life. I said to my wife, "Do you believe this? I'm president." But I didn't know anybody in Washington. And I had to rely on people to give me names. And many were really good. I mean, Bob Lighthizer, I had great trade people. I had some great people. But I also picked people that, in retrospect, I wouldn't have picked. But now I know the smart ones, the dumb ones, the weak ones, the solid ones, the ones like you. I know the people. I know everybody, sort of like everybody. And we're going to have a great government. I didn't know. I had to rely on people I'd ask, I don't want to use names because I don't want to embarrass. They're not bad people, but I'd ask people that were rhinos, who do you recommend for such and such a position? All important positions. And they'd recommend some people that were rhinos or something, or weak or not good. And I don't have to ask too much right now. I know the people, and I've known them through fighting and wars. I've known them through, because all this stuff. I had great support. Don't forget, I beat Nancy Pelosi. I beat all these people, every one of them. And somebody said, if you look at it, he beat the Clinton family, right? And that was really Obama, too, because he was behind her 100%.
The video goes on for a while,
Wow,
but I think the
this is
main
good.
point is him kind of realizing, yeah, I kind of goofed up here. I kind of made a lot of mistakes. A couple of months ago when I was on Timcast, I think it was the episode where we had RFK on. The question that I was raising, I think we had Kash Patel on, actually, and the question that I raised to Kash Patel was specifically, did Donald Trump learn his lesson from all the horrible people that were a part of his administration last time? Seeing this video shows me that that answer is a pretty good one that he gave
I
one.
think it's good.
And it's a good one.
I think it's good. I think the fact that he's reached out to us and been pretty consistent and has kept in touch with me on putting a libertarian in the cabinet is a really good sign. It's not just, I don't think we're just a token position. I think he really does radically want to change things.
How does that work? How does a Donald Trump reaching out to you look like? Like,
It's
just for the
through-
curiosity.
It's through another person, through a close friend of his, someone that people were critical of, I think, in past administrations, Rick Grinnell, who I think has come around a lot on a lot of issues and is moving in a libertarian direction. It's just up to us to meet people and take it on faith that there's a chance that they could be genuine.
Rick retweeted me a couple days ago. Is that a sign of that?
He's
Rick-
paying attention.
He is definitely paying attention. He knows.
What
knows
were the
who you are.
He saw my unblank shirt for $7,000 a load, and we were like, hanging out. Dude literally grabbed me. He's like, "Oh my god!" So
He's really awesome, dude. He
And I was like-
advocated for.
I was like, I don't know how I feel, but it's like
He's
whatever.
advocated for Ross very aggressively. He also
he has.
advocated for Assange behind the scenes. I'm very excited to be.
What were the promises that Donald Trump made to the libertarians, just to kind of remind people? Because there was some really good promises. So free
free
Ross,
Ross Ulbricht.
is day one, commute a sentence,
to
time
put a
served.
libertarian in a cabinet position, and that's an actual libertarian, not a GOP libertarian, to abolish the Department of Education. He considered putting more libertarians in his administration as well. What else?
With the Bitcoin and things like that, it was the stop the CBDCs,
Yes, stop central bank digital currencies. He had a long
self-custody. There was a lot of good things there for libertarians to
Yep.
really.
This is my own personal bugaboo, but I would really like to see him pardon Snowden. Like Assange has now, justice has been
He
given.
should bring Snowden and put him in the administration. I'm going to one up you on that one. I
Well, we
agree.
want-
Okay,
so
okay.
we want-
Snowden, head of the CIA.
We want
Yes, to dismantle it though. To dismantle it, I think he would be the perfect person.
we want Julian Assange to get a pardon. He's
Yeah.
out, but we want him to get a pardon.
Yes,
Right.
but
Yeah.
let's focus on the American, why don't we, and bring Snowden home.
Yes.
It's amazing that people
Actually,
are so much
NSA.
more concerned with Assange than they are with Snowden.
And do you think the
Well,
Biden
but it's
administration tried to take the wind out of the sails
Yes.
of Donald Trump with that Assange move?
100%. They were watching and the Biden Harris HQ Twitter account was tweeting clips of our convention and interviewing people and asking about Donald Trump.
Right.
And that happened very shortly after, and I basically kind of gatekept all interviews with him around the convention, and I suggested Timcast because I was like, Tim is a fan of yours, but he's also, I think, a very good journalist. He will not brutalize you and mistreat you, but he will ask you sincere and kind of tough questions. You should do this interview. And Tim really teed it up, and I think that Biden Harris HQ was watching that, and they'd been considering it for a while and probably knew that I'd been talking to his team about it, and they were like, that's it, we got to do it because we need this. So I think that Tim and the Libertarian Party teed that up so to make sure that it happened and didn't just become another political talking point.
Yeah. Him doing interviews with all these podcasters, Sean Ryan, the last one of them.
beautiful.
The other guy, Aiden Ross, love him or hate him. This is the way to kind of reach out to the general public. This is a way that is highlighting the larger kind of rift with this political cycle between the corporate media and the independent media. And the independent media is kicking major butt now, and we're covering stories a lot better than, of course, the larger PSYOP propaganda outlets out there that are running old stories, that are running old lines, that are running so much bull crap out there that the American people no longer have a kind of tolerance for it. They're saying, no, I'm just going to go online. I'm going to see what people are tweeting about. I want to see what people are sharing. I want to see the real legitimate conversation that's unfiltered, which Kamala Harris doesn't want to have. I don't think she's done an interview yet,
Nope.
which
Nope.
is
She
extremely
doesn't even go
telling.
off our teleprompter.
And we were just talking about, the Donald Trump campaign. Let's talk about the Kamala Harris campaign that, according to the Post Millennial, is now demanding that they want seated debates with notes for the September 10th ABC News event. Yes, you heard that correctly. Kamala Harris wants to be sitting at a table with the ability to read through notes and papers that she has in front of her in order to debate the former president of the United States. I don't know about you, but this is like
She wants a cheat
Worse
sheet.
than Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Joe Biden didn't even get that.
Right?
She wants a little cheat sheet. She wants to be able to be like,
Joking?
what was that question? Oh yeah, here it is. Like, and read it.
And this is after she withdrew from the Fox debate. I mean, so she's going to go one debate in friendly territory with notes seated. It's like she's going to demand everything, hoping that Trump says, you know what, this is too much, so that she doesn't have to debate at all. That has been the game plan the entire time. They don't want to have her debate at all.
Imagine her going on X the way Trump did with Elon Musk and just talking for an hour and a half
couldn't
or
do
2
it.
hours or whatever. She couldn't
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
That-
I think
She
she
can't.
should just laugh the entire way through. Don't say a word. Just engage in psychological warfare and laugh for 30 minutes
it might-
straight.
it might
Just
drive me
keep
insane.
saying thank you for like 10, 15 minutes, like she
Yeah.
did
Kinda
in
like
the
her
beginning
speech.
of the RNC.
Yeah.
At the
It was like,
DNC.
good night,
Yeah.
hello.
Very awkward. She obviously is someone who is either dealing with substance abuse or anxiety issues that are pretty
Probably
severe,
both.
Or mental illness, or communism.
or
It could be any of it.
the debilitating fact that she's a puppet of the larger kind of bureaucratic deep state that essentially tell her what to do. And that has a lot of significant pressures on it, because imagine being someone that has all these big money donors coming in saying, you're going to do this for us, even though she knows that those are not the best policies for the constituents, for the people. That is, if you're someone like that, you either have to, have a substance abuse problems to kind of quiet your mind, not to deal with the larger truth, or you're someone who has a big problem with it themselves, because there is a kind of genuine aspect to Donald Trump that you don't see within the DNC. You don't see amongst the Democratic politicians. You don't see kind of in live conversations that are real, impromptu, and could go anywhere at any time. It's absolutely scripted to the point where they literally hand journalists the questions that they're supposed to ask, and they're not allowed to deviate from in order to interview their candidates, while Donald Trump, RFK Jr. too, shouts out to RFK Jr. He sat down on Timcast and I was able to ask him whatever I wanted. And I did. But there was no filters. There was no things that they said was off the record or the ability that they were not comfortable with. So shouts out to him, even though, it got a little contentious. I still loved that conversation. And I think we need more of those conversations.
I think that was probably the hardest interview any politician has had in this election cycle, was what you did to RFK Jr. You went so hard on that guy.
Well, you kind of, let's just be honest here.
I respect it. I'm not giving you a hard time. I'm just saying, like, contrasting that to normal corporate media engagement, I was floored. I was listening to it in my car and I was like, Jesus, Luke, like, you are not
tough.
holding back.
He's tough.
He's got a thick skin. He's tough. And I think that's a good quality.
Exactly. And I have tremendous amounts of respect for him for doing that.
Yep.
And for being able to go into a room and say, ask me whatever you want. And I deeply, deeply respect that. And it does mean a lot to me. And I saw RFK different after that kind of conversation in a more kind of positive light. Something that, of course, we will never see from the carefully crafted PR images of Kamala Harris that doesn't really run
But
on
I
a
would
lot of
pay
policies.
for that. I would pay good money to watch somebody go hard on Kamala and just ask her questions and watch her like meltdown.
Oh, she would walk away.
I'd put
Yeah.
lots of
She
money
would walk
behind
away.
that.
I think
Like,
she has a different toughness. Like, what kind of toughened, like leathery, thick-skinned soul have you got to put away so many innocent people and just get up every morning and drink yourself through the day and do it again?
Yeah, I don't think she has that kind of toughness. She has viciousness.
Yeah.
She will use the
Evil.
power of the state to destroy you.
Yeah.
But in terms of like engaging in a conversation, she's like,
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
she's the type that'll smile in your face and then she'll walk away or walk around the corner, call the FBI and be like, you're going to ruin this person for me. That's
kind
who
of
she
like
is.
what she did to people who consume cannabis in her state, where she was like, you're going to jail. But then she went on interviews and laughed and was like, yeah, I smoked weed in college. Like,
she is peak ideologue. People are confused by how she flip-flopped between being like not tough on crime and locking up the parents of truant's kids. It's because she's a hardcore ideologue and she will do whatever the Marxist agenda tells her to do. She has no problem changing her mind.
Whatever the globalists tell her to do,
Yes.
she's going to do. So she's an empty vessel of the corporatist state
Yes.
that will be implementing policies through her, just like they did with Joe Biden. They used up Joe Biden and they threw away the puppet after, of course, using it to implement some of the worst policies on the American people.
It's
But,
worse,
yeah.
Luke. It's worse than just being an ideologue in terms of she is a hardcore Marxist, and she's showing that. The whole truancy thing with the kids, that is a Marxist ideology. The children do not belong to the parents.
the state.
They belong to the state. We see this in Cuba. It is a law in Cuba. Your children have to be indoctrinated the way the state says, or they can take your children.
Well,
Same in Germany. You get arrested for homeschooling your kids in Germany.
And then add to that like the reason she's hard on crime and soft on crime is because then when it comes to property rights for small businesses or corporate businesses, she's very soft because
Yes.
again, Marxists don't believe in property rights.
Yes.
Expropiense, like
Yeah.
Chavez did. You know,
Yes.
your property is not yours. It's mine. It's
people,
ours.
people have this totally wrong when they say, "Oh, she's not acting as a principled Marxist would." Like, no, she actually is.
Oh yeah,
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
She is totally a Marxist socialist.
I needed to clarify that point because this has been a point of contention between Dave Smith and myself publicly over the past week or so, where he's saying, no, she's basically a functionary for a fascistic model. And I'm like, yes, she plays that role. But simultaneously, if you actually look at how she behaved in power and then also her rhetoric,
Yes.
it's overtly Marxist.
It's overtly
Yeah.
Marxist, and I completely agree with you.
And
Her father-
predatory and dangerous.
Right.
Sorry,
Her
go ahead.
father was a Marxist who taught at the university level these type of things. So of course she has it like ingrained in her being. This
At
is who
Stanford.
she is.
Yeah.
Right.
But now the question arises, does Donald Trump take this debate? As, of course, there are reports of him threatening to drop out of the ABC debate, which would mean there would be no larger presidential debate. As, of course, there are a lot of things that they're negotiating over right now. And it's also important to know that this debate is happening right before his sentencing. So if you're Donald Trump, who's going to be sentenced, I believe, September 14th, do you take this debate with Kamala Harris September 10th? As, of course, I made this point for my members video for LukeUnfiltered.com recently saying, you know, if Donald Trump does really well against Kamala on September 10th, he is going to probably end up in jail September 14th during the sentencing. If he does really bad and the polls shift, they might keep him out of jail. But I think a lot of things are at stake here. Should he do this debate? I want to leave the question to you guys.
Yes.
100%. 100%. Imagine he does amazingly well. He destroys Kamala, which is more likely outcome, and then they sentence him to jail. This is like he is going to be the top of the news cycle for weeks, for months, for whatever, and he's going to, you know, decimate her.
Are you
Let's go.
joking? He wasn't even on the top of the news cycle for I don't know how long after he
almost lost his life. That's a fair point.
He was for
that's
like
true.
a good 48 hours, and then they
Yeah.
just sort of dropped him like a hot potato.
Yeah, they gave him 3 days.
Yeah.
They're like the biggest news story.
Let me
You know,
walk that
people-
back. He's going to be the top of the news cycle for independent media.
Yes.
There you
no,
go.
No, and honestly,
He'll
I
be
think,
trending on Twitter.
Yes,
for sure.
which
and
matters.
I think what matters more than corporate media coverage is, you know, the perception of, oh, they thought he would turn down these debate opportunities. He took it. He crushes her,
Yep.
and then they put him in prison 48 hours later. It's like, oh, they cannot beat this dude straight up. That just that appearance, that optic is so damaging to them. I think he probably has to.
Yeah.
Let's go. I mean, prison run is going to be
I'm
fantastic.
just curious to see if he's gonna get the same treatment too. Like, will he be seated? Obviously, like, I mean, if Kamala wants these certain
Oh, it'd be
things,
the
then
same.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they'd both get the same treatment, but he's probably not going to need notes. Can you imagine Trump using notes? Like, he's not even going to look at that.
I don't think he's ever written anything down in his life.
He goes off script all the time. He doesn't read the teleprompters.
He doesn't. He's not a.
No.
He's not a notes guy.
Everybody,
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you
everybody
see
that's friends with him says
the
that.
wound. Like, did he really get shot at? Is this like a thing?
because
Because
are you really asking?
Really,
no.
Martha?
Here's the thing. Because I obviously I believe he did,
Yeah.
but people are constantly questioning
I was
it.
on the phone with his team when it happened.
Oh,
I had stepped out of Chase Oliver's event at Freedom Fest to take a call from someone on his team because we were talking about something else. And as I hung up and walked back in the room, I looked at my phone and it had happened while
Crazy.
I was on the phone.
We
with
were
him.
at Freedom Fest.
Very
and
upsetting.
We just
We
got
were in the elevator. Yeah, I was there with you and Josie.
Yeah, it was. I was like, that can't be true.
Yeah, I was like, no way. I was like, yeah, right.
It-
And then I looked at him. I'm like, holy freaking cow!
It was really
insane.
like it was really surreal. I don't want to be like white women making everything about themselves, you know, but like this is someone I know and that I have fond feelings towards, who I, have had dinner with, I have had a phone conversation with. I saw him again at the convention. I'm in pretty regular contact with all of the people close to him. And it made me I was so upset, almost crying, freaking out. And then it really made me want to do awful things to people.
Yeah. Josie cried right away.
The feeling that it solicited in me.
Sorry, Josie, I shouldn't have outed you like that.
Yeah.
My bad.
Was
I was like, why is Josie crying in the elevator? I was like, what is this? This is nothing. I was like,
yeah,
and
I get it. As a woman, I was like, oh, and I wanted to just dismember people.
Yeah,
there was
a
angry.
major emotional shift.
It was
in this
huge,
country that affected everyone. I had a meetup for members of LukeUnfiltered.com, and I was like, I don't know if I even want to go to this thing. I need to take a moment here to take a deep breath in, because this was a major poll. Yeah, I mean, eventually I did. This was a major change in our politics.
It felt
and our
like
discourse.
someone tried to murder my uncle. Was what it was like. It was it felt so profoundly personal. And I know that there are people in this country who revere him much more than I do, and I cannot imagine.
Their rage was...
For me, it was definitely personal, because if they would have succeeded, there's no way that Ross Ulbricht would get out of jail.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was,
to take that away.
But even that, there would have been war with Iran. There would have been a larger civil conflict. We're going to be talking about the potential civil conflict that could still unfold, especially under a Kamala Harris kind of candidacy. We got a super chat here from Ryan Okurus saying, would love to hear the panel thoughts on Pavel's arrest this weekend in France. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more on the next platform. Before going over there, we want to tell you about Anton's Land of Biltong. This is a great company. They are dealing with a lot of significant pressures from their local government. They support a lot of independent media, and they're a great snack. They're a great product that you should check out on landofbiltong.com. As of course, it's low in carbs, packed with protein, making biltong the ultimate health snack. Biltong is a great source of iron and also serves as a source of several other essential nutrients, including magnesium, potassium, and B vitamins, which translates into exceptional gains in all aspects of life. If you follow any high-protein, meat-based diet, biltong should be an essential part of your diet. Code WRC for free shipping. And if your purchase is over $45, promo code WRC10 for 10% off of your purchase.
Landofbiltong.com. This stuff is genuinely amazing. I'm just gonna speak from the heart. No script. The Angus in particular is my favorite. It's like beef jerky, but it's more moist. And I know saying the word moist makes you want to throw up in your mouth, but I'm just being honest with you. That's what it is. I have to describe it somehow.
It's the good moist. It's the good moist, not the bad moist.
Amazing.
It's not dry.
No, juicy, I don't like that. I don't like saying that either.
It's not dry and ashy like gas station beef jerky.
Exactly. And it's really legit. And I know Anton, and I know the company, and we've talked to them. We had them here on this show to talk about their larger pressures that they're dealing with local government. And truly an incredible group of people. Great product. When you support them, you also support us. So go check out landofbiltong.com. The link is going to be in the chat room and in the description below. So you could, of course, support the people that support us.
Code WRC. Get it.
Yeah.
WRC10.
Yes, Steph likes this stuff too. As of course, we're now going to be moving over to this free speech platform that we are on the front page of, next to Donald Trump Jr., Jimmy Dore, and then us. So if you want to see the continuation of this show and us talking about a lot of other stuff, go to that platform right now. We also got a super chat here from Harry Toe One saying the stuff is amazing. The Reaper is real hot. It is.
It is.
So great stuff by Land of Biltong. And before going over towards a free speech platform where we actually get to express ourselves totally free, Angela, where can people find out more information about you?
You can catch me on Twitter at Angela4LNCchair.com. You can find me on Patreon, patreon.com/Angela. You can support me on Locals and Substack.
And we have the website rageagainstwar.com that I and Clint probably will be speaking at.
Please come.
Or at least promoting, but I'll probably be there. I'm gonna check my schedule. I haven't checked my schedule yet, but I'm gonna check my schedule. I'm gonna do everything I can to be there.
We want them there. Visit rageagainstwar.com. Please attend. Join us on September 28th. Please donate to help us put on this event. This is a huge production. It's a $1.4 million budget to support Rage Against the War Machine and Rescue the Republic the following day. Rescue the Republic is the brainchild of me, Brett Weinstein, and Matt Toon, the guy who brought us the Defeat the Mandates rally series. We are joining forces to say enough is enough. Tulsi Gabbard will be there, Brett Weinstein, Matt Taibbi, possibly Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Donald Trump, many others. It is going to be the most epic weekend in Washington, D.C.
Last year's one was really, really good, and I think this one is going to beat it by a lot. So I would highly recommend you guys check it out if you're interested.
Hundreds, maybe 100,000 people will be there. It's going to be a huge thing. We have sectioned off the entire Washington Monument area. So join us to rebuke the deep state in Washington, September 28th and 29th.
Awesome. Martha.
You can find me on Bueno for Miami on X and IG.
At Liberty Lock Pod on X. And let me just reiterate, if you subscribe, I will follow you back. If you just follow me, thank you, but no. So I'm not lying. I just want to tell the super chatter there. Liberty Lockdown is the show, and Tower Gang is the other one. Don't watch that one. Love you guys.
Read the Bulldozer super chat stuff.
Bulldozer or Harry Toe too. Okay, Bulldozer. Bulldozer says Biltong isn't dry and ashy like Clintina's girlfriend.
Where can people find out more information about you, Steph?
You can find me on X at StephWRC or on Instagram at StephWeAreChange.
All right, I've been too busy. I'm going to check right now if we still have a caller from LukeUnfiltered.com member. Again, priority to first-time callers. You want to call in, go into the Telegram chat right now, sign up, and we, of course, will be going to you in about 30 minutes from now as we officially switch over